study area alternatives 2, 6, 9, and 10. And just to reorient yourself, the key map is on the right, and some helpful workshop materials are the existing general plan land use map, as well as place type menus. I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat, just so you all have a link in case that helps you understand the discussion better. A moment, let me go ahead and put that in. Actually, Rendell, do you mind helping me? I can't find the chat button for that. So
you want me to drop in?
Yeah.
The link to the
2 workshop materials.
Sure.
Thank you. So just to start, I'm going to introduce myself. So my name is Linda Lee. I'm an associate planner with the City of San Mateo. I'm on the general plan update team. I'm also joined by my co-facilitator, Brendo Bustos. He's a senior planner. And tonight's note taker will be Nikki Vu. He's a housing specialist also with the City of San Mateo. And so just a quick reminder, I'd like to remind everyone, tonight's ground rules for our discussion. Please speak from your own experience. Listen to understand one another, respect differences, allow everyone to participate, and know that your input and questions are all valid. We encourage you all to share your questions or comments through the chat. If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. And
sorry, Linda, you just muted. You're on mute right now.
okay.
I apologize, Linda. I think that was
no worries. Yeah, so Heather's the chat manager in this room. We encourage you all to share your questions or comments, submit them through the chat. But if you'd like to speak, you're welcome to raise your hand and the chat manager will unmute you. But please be mindful of the time. We only have about 20 minutes in each of the breakout rooms, and make sure to speak to the topic at hand. So the setup for the breakout rooms, we can roughly allocate 5 to 10 minutes per study area. It really depends. If you have a preferred study area that you'd like, you can let me know now. If not, I can evenly distribute discussion time per study area 2, 6, 9, and 10. And so just a high level summary of the differences between the alternatives. Alternative A generally has the least changes in designations, lowest residential growth. Alternative B has the second highest residential growth and looks more at mid-range building heights evenly across all 10 study areas. And lastly, alternative C projects the highest residential growth and mainly is concentrated around the transit corridors. So in study areas 3 and 4. So those study areas you'll review in later breakout group discussions, not with me. And so for tonight, I'd like to remind you, we are not making a decision on the draft land use alternatives. We're really looking at each alternative A, B, and C for the 4 select study areas. And we're asking for your input. Do you think this is the right range of alternative scenarios? If not, what ideas or changes would you like to see? Do you think anything is missing that you would like staff to further evaluate? So tonight, we're really looking just for input. So it looks like there was no preference for whether one study area over another. So I'm going to go in order. So the first study area is number 2. This is the Bell Mateo Molly Stone area, and also includes Bell Mateo Bowl. So the existing land use, so this is a current general plan land use map. It comprises mostly of neighborhood commercial with some high density multifamily uses allowed. And so these are the 3 different alternatives being considered. So firstly, residential uses are being introduced to the Bell Mateo Shopping Center. Alternative A represents the least change, whereas C introduces mixed use on the west side of El Camino Real and would create a possibility of a small mixed use village. And so if anyone has input, please raise your hand You're also welcome to enter your comments and questions into the chat.
And I do have one question in here from Jeffrey Bax. How is infrastructure being addressed in any of these alternatives?
Yeah, so that's a great question. If you attended any of our past general plan recap, that is definitely something that will be considered when we, refine and select a study area to focus on. But for now, we're not quite there yet. But it's definitely something that the general plan team will be looking further into once we select a study area. Yeah. So I guess just to provide more context, so alternative A, most of the uses are low residential, medium commercial service, a commercial neighborhood east of El Camino Real. And it looks at retaining neighborhood commercial at the city limits. Some highlights for alternative B in the middle. Looks at low residential, medium residential in this area. Mixed use low in the main part of the shopping center.
I have a question from Diane. Where will the train help with the transportation BBN?
So you're referring to the Belmont train station? Would Diana like to speak? We can unmute her and let her share her comment and question.
Which I don't see I see two Dianas. This is I'm assuming it will be this person.
It's just Diane, so it might be the first one.
Yes, and I'm asking her to unmute herself. There you go.
Okay, there is no train station there. And you can use the bus service, but we're talking about City of San Mateo here. Yes, the general plan, the whole RCN or whatever it's called, is all of San Mateo County. I understand that. I listened to that thing today. But first of all, that area, those homes don't have any area for ADUs. 1, 2, they're on hills. 3, the Belmont area shopping area definitely could use a 4-story high rise, which we talked about raising for El Camino. But there is no train for that area. In fact, the people in Laurelwood on the other side, on the east side of El Camino, those people where Samaritan House is and everything, they don't have any bus service over there. Not like we do with Shoreview. So are you going to implement a bus service for these people? Thank you.
Thanks, Diane.
Just want to get a heads up. We have 9 minutes left.
Okay.
There is one more question in here. How those east of El Camino area changed homes torn down? Are those east of El Camino areas changed homes torn down?
I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
Jeffrey, do you want to expand or say it out loud? You can unmute yourself if you wish to speak.
Yeah, hi, it's actually Ginny Backus.
Okay, Backus, thank you.
Yeah, it's Plato Backus. I'm talking about what I'm seeing is the area there that I think are presently homes, and with the new designations there, does that mean that those homes get torn down and replaced by apartment buildings or multi-unit dwellings? And I'm also concerned about, where do the cars go? I'm really concerned about infrastructure.
Yeah, we understand. And, we're taking notes on all your comments tonight. So you're concerned for potential displacement because of increasing the higher density. We'll take note of that. And so
Thank
what the general plan is, we're looking at future designations, but whether they actually get built out to that designation, the city doesn't make that determination, but it paves the way for it to happen potentially. Okay, Vivian, how are we doing on time? I can move to the next study area.
We have 7 more minutes.
Okay. Does anyone have any more comments on study area 2? If not, we'll move into study area 6, which is actually the Laurelwood area. Okay.
Jonathan has a comment here. The Alt-C mixed use village seems nice, especially if there's grocery and CVS nearby.
Great, thanks for that comment. All right, so the next study area is study area 6. This is includes the Laurelwood Shopping Center. So what Diane touched on earlier. And so this particular study area, it's mostly developed with existing offices around Campus Drive. And there's also the Laurelwood Shopping Center down on the south. And so the proposed alternatives for the Campus Drive area, along alternative C, we're looking at changing all the office uses along Campus Drive to residential while maintaining commercial designation at the Laurelwood Shopping Center. Alternative A represents the least change currently and maintains existing office uses with the exception of residential uses allowed. And this is in connection with Peninsula Heights, which is an approved planning application project for residential units. And alternative B, the changes increasing the density of the office use to medium high rise, while maintaining mixed use at Laurelwood Shopping Center, low to medium residential. And so this is a good time actually to use the placemaps PDF that I had linked earlier. This will kind of give you an idea of what a medium to low rise office looks like. And additional information, Peninsula Heights, it's been entitled for 290 residential units, if that's helpful.
Gil has left a message that I'd prefer the mixed use from B and medium residential of C.
Thank you, Gil.
Just a heads up, 5 minutes.
Okay. Vivian, are you saying 5 minutes for the rest of this breakout group?
Yes.
Okay. All right, sorry, everyone. Oh, go ahead.
Jonathan agrees with Gil, and Gil says, "Dear God, no more offices." Bacchus group Plan B looks the best. Please don't take away Laurelwood shops. Don't take Laurelwood shops away.
Okay, thanks for sharing that comment. Okay.
And C, what happens to Laurelwood Shopping Center?
So it's still maintaining a commercial designation, neighborhood commercial. Yeah, okay. So unfortunately I do have to move. We have 2 more study areas to look at, but you're welcome to keep entering your comments into the chat. So the next study area is number 9. This is the Hillsdale, Norfolk area. And so just to give you an idea of what the existing uses are, this is the Kaiser Medical Office Building, Hillsdale, and the Marina Market Shopping Plaza. And so in the 3 different alternatives, what we're looking at is alternative B would provide the most net new residential units at the Marina Plaza Shopping Center. And it would also have a mixed use medium designation. Alternatives, well, all alternatives designate Hillsdale N for residential uses. And so that's actually consistent with the current planning application we have for a new residential project there. And some other key landmarks to point out, this is the Atria. So that's an existing senior assisted living center. And we also have Hampton Inn and Suites here. Oh, wait, no. Sorry, I think I was looking at a different study area. Okay, so feel free to enter your comments and questions for this study area.
Before I get any, I do not have any yet for this particular area, but there was a correction that somebody misread the previous, and Plan C was the best. So there's
Okay.
another vote for Plan C.
I have Diane mentioning about, again, transportation poor, no more office, too much traffic in 92, too much traffic already for proposed bike path, environmental with water for birds, not a good area to expand affordable living already.
Okay, thank you, Diane. I actually want to mention that there is a circulation focused breakout group. So, definitely share your comments then when the circulation facilitators come into this breakout room.
There's a question here, if you could, what exactly is a commercial neighborhood?
Yeah, so actually let's pull up the place type and do a quick show of that.
Just a heads up, 1 minute left.
Okay.
And I have a comment from Karen afterward. Okay.
Yeah, so the commercial neighborhood, it's really looking at lower rise story buildings, more small mom and pop type shops. This is an example, downtown San Mateo. This looks like West 25th Ave. And so that's what a neighborhood commercial looks like. It's more serving the residents that live there versus other uses of commercial or regional. It's maybe more of a big box type department store, and you'll have visitors outside San Mateo driving in to shop.
Thank you for that is the response. And there's a comment here. I'd love to keep the variety of shops and grocery in Marina, but making it mixed use with residential would be great. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
We have Karen said, she mentioned C is preferable as there is so much buildup in this area already.
Great, thank you. And so, do we have a minute, Vivian? Still, or?
We are actually wrapping up.
Okay.
They will be moving to a next section.
Okay. Well, I'll just give you guys a preview. The last study area was actually Bridgepoint. And so if you'd like, feel free to enter your comments into the chat. And just really quickly for Bridgepoint, it's really alternative A, keeping Bridgepoint the same. Alternative B is designating the northern portion of Bridgepoint as mixed use low. So this would be an opportunity for a mixed use type village. And C is also proposing residential uses. So this is medium. Okay. Yeah, so
just to confirm with folks, we've got a B on that and alternative C for Bridgepoint. Great opportunities for home. Somebody likes B for homes, but prefer lower than 7 stories. I'm not sure if that went back to the prior. But just also confirming with participants that these chat comments will be saved and provided to the consultants as well, just in case we miss one.
Thank you. Yeah, so feel free to enter your chat comments into the chat. And typically at the end of each breakout group discussion, we have a recap. So I am going to switch to so Nikki has been taking notes on our discussion. So let's quickly see. Nikki, did you use Google Docs?
Sorry, I'm actually using the Jamboard right now for the notes. And I just want to make sure for our last study area, we only got that they like B, but would prefer to keep it at 7 stories. Was there any other notes for that?
That one was prior to Bridgepoint, whatever one was prior to Bridgepoint.
Okay. We can go ahead and get rid of that one then.
Okay.
So over here then. At the study area 9?
I believe so.
Okay, we can go ahead and add that.
Yeah, and so before they kick us out, so I can just do a quick recap. So for study area 2, the Bell Mateo Molly Stone area, we heard comments about, fear of increasing density that would result in displacement. We heard comments about bus service, and again, that would be great to share in the circulation. Alternative group discussions, discussion about, proposing a 4-story high-rise around Mateo Bowl area, and, thumbs up for mixed use in this area. So for the Campus Drive area, study area 6, we heard about, keeping Lorewood shops, because that's a defining landmark in this particular study area. And one comment, no more office. And thankfully there's residential units coming in, so that's aligned with that. And there's also a comment, preference for mixed use for B, and also medium residential of C.
Just want to
okay.
Just want to give you a heads up.
Diana actually mentioned
the previous slide that mixed use. She commented about mixed use, but again, Concourse and this is will cause too much traffic, no building on the fish market, environmental footprint.
Thank you, Diane. And so for the study area 9, just comments about too much traffic, made note of that. Making marina into mixed use with shops and residential. And the last study area, Bridgepoint Shopping Center, we weren't able to capture comments, right?
Or at least we didn't capture a whole lot, yeah.
Okay.
Here's another comment from Leslie. It's already impossible to get on and off Highway 92 and 101 in the Bridgepoint area without more housing in that area. Are you coordinating with Foster City about the traffic problem? And there's another vote for Alt C area study 10.
Okay, thanks, Heather. And I do want to defer the traffic comments and questions to the circulation group again. Oh, we have a raised hand from Rick Bonilla.
Yeah, I'm wondering where the chat is, where we're supposed to be able to comment. I can't find it on my control.
Yeah, it's. I wonder if we should call the
down
Zoom
at Rick, down on the bottom of your screen, you don't have a chat button. It is coming to me.
Well, all I'm seeing is the last chat I see was Rendell put in a couple of links.
Correct.
Is that it? So I don't see the other chats. I only see.
The comments are coming to me.
Okay. Thank you.
That's why I'm reading them out loud.
All right.
Okay, let me just do a quick check if we need to shift rooms. Or Vivian, have you heard from?
So Linda mentioned to move on to your second breakout room discussion.
Okay.
It looks like she sent a broadcast.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
And we're going to group D now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and Heather will be staying.
And yes, Vivian and I, Vivian, you're staying here in this. So yes, for those of you who are still here, and as we await the transition of our facilitators, just a reminder that yes, the chats are going directly to those of us that are the chat coordinators. That's why we are reading them out loud so that we can, and we are recording this as well so that those get out there, as well as we'll be saving the chat. And we'll just remind you that if it's easier to speak, the hand giving us a hand up will help us identify you, and we'll let you mute yourself to say it if it's easier than typing it out for us. And so it's interesting that Vivian got some that I did not. So we're not sharing the same chat things, I think, but
I believe so.
But that's all right. That's why we're team tagging. And Ms. Bacchus, you said it's not Jeffrey. Could you give me your name again, please? We're going to be in this for the night. This group. This is here we are, and I see our next facilitators are here too. But if you want to shoot me your name in the chat, that again, that would be also. So thank you. I see Julia. It's all yours.
Hi everybody. My name is Julia Fine, and with me this evening is Nicholas. Nicholas will be taking notes, and so I'll go ahead and share my slide. Give me one moment. Is everybody able to see the slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to make sure. So just real quickly, it's a reminder of the 2 key questions we're asking everybody for these 4 study areas that we'll be covering during this segment. Is this the right range of alternative scenarios? And are there ideas or changes missing that you would like to see evaluated? So we're going to be covering study area 1, the northern segment of El Camino, which is close to Burlingame. Study area 4, which is downtown. Study area 5, which is along San Mateo Drive and the Peninsula Corridor. And then study area 7, which is the North Shore View and Shore View neighborhood areas. So again, my name is Julia Klein, the interim planning manager, and with me is Nick Hamilton, a senior planner. And we'll have need to divide our time in order to cover all of the study areas. I would recommend covering the 3 smaller groups and then save most of our time for the downtown. So I'm going to be flipping back and forth in the slide presentation. And then I recommend that we do the questions and comments within the chat to make sure that Heather has all of them and can be able to read them to everybody here. So the key difference with alternatives, I think you may have seen this in the other in the other presenters, but alternative A has the least change in terms of designation and the lowest residential growth. Alternative B has the highest residential growth and spreads growth and mid-range heights more evenly across all 10 study areas. And alternative C has the highest residential growth and it concentrates that growth and the highest, the tallest heights and densities near transit. So study area 1, what we see here is the existing mix of land uses, medium density and high density multifamily housing, as well as executive office with an overlay of residential. So that's existing land use context. And is everybody able to read the street names on study area A, B, and C? Nod of head? Yes? Okay. So what we're seeing in terms of the key differences between the 3 are a mix of uses. Primarily, if you look on study area 1, this color in this portion right here shows a difference in color versus these other 2. This alternative A has shown in this portion, which is El Camino and Tilton, that area as a mixed use medium. And then in alternative C, you'll see that as a mixed use high. There is one difference in alternative B, which is an introduction of a commercial, neighborhood commercial in this middle portion, which is along El Camino and Poplar, which is not included, that designation is not included in alternative C and alternative A. In terms of net difference, net new units, dwelling units, this shows that alternative A will have 650, alternative B will have 1,370, alternative C has about 920. There is also a change in terms of the net new jobs, and that's reflected in this column down here. Are there any questions?
Diane actually have a comment. Area 1 to 3rd Avenue, I would like to see Gateway Park area stay as a park-like bike area, no additional housing. Stop 3rd Avenue 101 exit to downtown, use 4th only for Shore View area A.
So that's a good comment that to be noted for study area 4. So we'll cover that shortly. Are there any comments regarding study area 1 or any questions?
We have a question here. Where do jobs come from? Such as why does A have so much more than B?
So we are planning for increases in jobs, and the primary difference in terms of where the land use is shown that's different are these locations that are here. So this one right here, which is medium, as well as, so these are the different colors in terms of the land uses. And so the jobs are coming from the land use designations.
We have another question. How high is high?
So there is a separate document that's on the city's website, and we can certainly, it's called the typology menu. And those that are interested, Heather, do you have the link? Or we can share the link, but it can go up to 85 feet for high. But it's a range. And so I mean, in terms of the range, let me go ahead and look at the typology.
Which one is it? I have the place type. No.
Yeah, so the mixed use medium is 4 to 7 stories. And then mixed use high is 8 stories plus. And that height range is reflected also in the residential medium, which is 4 to 7 stories, and residential high, which is 8+ stories.
I have Linda Wolin. Her comment says, in alternative B, where exactly is that commercial area on Poplar?
So Poplar Avenue is right here. You see my little cursor? And then the commercial area is here.
Linda Wolin also mentioned, what is the cross street?
So the cross street is El Camino and Poplar right here. So again, Poplar Avenue, and the red that you see here is at the intersection of Poplar and El Camino. Any other questions? Otherwise, we can go to the next study area.
Diane says she cannot see the cursor.
Okay, it's study area B. Oh, sorry. It's this one. Do you see right here?
And then Linda Wallen asked, oh, where's the gas station is?
That is where the gas station is Poplar and El Camino.
And I just want to give you a heads up, we have 10 minutes.
So let's go ahead and move on to the next area. And then if you have any further questions, go ahead and enter them in chat and or comments, and Nicholas will be recording them. Any questions that we aren't able to cover, we'll go ahead and provide a response sort of online separately. So we'll come back to study area 4. Let's go ahead and go to study area 5. So this is the northern segment, San Mateo Drive and Peninsula Avenue. The mix of land uses in this area, medium density, high density. There's some mix of commercial and office. And what we're seeing in terms of the 3 alternatives, Safeway Shopping Center is staying neighborhood commercial in alternative A. It's going to be changing to mixed use in alternative B and C. And then what you'll see is office use down here with a neighborhood commercial in alternative A. That is changing to mixed use, medium. And then it goes back in terms of alternative C. Alternative C is very similar to alternative A. One key difference in terms of the southern area is the alternative C. You'll see down here, there's more high density residential, which is this brown color, as well as this high mixed use, which is that dark blue color. Are there any questions about these 3 alternatives or comments?
We have a question with regards to how height limits density from Measure Y met these proposed alternatives. There's also a comment, must keep Safeway and CVS.
In terms of Measure Y, when we were developing these 3 alternatives based on community comment, what we knew at the time, these maps were introduced in March 2020, was Measure P. And so Measure P was factored into alternative A. We knew based on all of the community comments that we had been hearing from the community since we started the general plan project in 2018, that there was also input asking the city through the general plan process to look at land uses, higher densities, different heights. And those comments are reflected in alternative B and C. There is acknowledgement from the general plan team that in order for, once we go through this phase, which is going through the technical analysis of these 3 study areas, we will need to ask another question of our community to basically choose a preferred alternative. We're not there yet because we don't have all those technical studies, done yet, but once we do have the studies, we'll ask the community that question. And if the community at that time decides to, based on all of the technical information, decides to, a land use mix that is different than Measure Y, then that's a question that we need to then bring back to the community and see if that's a viable interest. That's an interest that the community wishes to preserve. So that question itself isn't going to be answered by the general plan team. It's going to be answered through a public process as well.
I have 2 comments here. Jonathan says, study area 5, my vote is for C. I'd love to keep Safeway and CVS. Gil says, study area 5, prefer B due to lower heights that don't conflict with as much with Measure Y as C. So I think.
Thank you for your comment.
Yeah.
I
have Diane. She said, what will happen to federal building property?
So the land uses will, depending on what the final decision is, the land use designation is there. Should the property owner, whether it's the federal government, the state, any property owner, the land use designation is there. If the property owner decides to do something different with their property, then they have that opportunity. But just changing the land use, if the city goes through this process and we change the land use, it does not force the property owner to do anything, with their property. They can continue their uses. The land use designation, if there is a change, it just provides them an opportunity for them to do something different in the future if they should choose to do so.
2 more comments. Karen preferred B because C is too dense. And Ginny says Alt B, but keep Safeway and CVS.
Thank you for your comments. Looking at the time, if there's any additional comments, we can go ahead and capture that. Nicholas has the chat information and we'll go ahead and capture those.
Is Woodlake not showing in this? There's a question.
It's here. And Woodlake Shopping Center is where Safeway is located. Okay, so given our time, I'm going to go ahead and move to study area 7 so that we have time to also come back to study area for downtown. So study area 7 is the North Shoreview and Shoreview area. It's primarily looking at the 101 corridor on both sides, as well as the Shoreview Shopping Center, which is out here. And in terms of the change in the land uses, currently, we have service commercial along the Amplet corridor, and that's reflected in this pink color, and also along here on 3rd Avenue. We're seeing in alternative B, some of that changing over to medium density and high density residential. And then on the other side of the freeway, we're seeing that change over to medium mixed use. Coming back to in alternative C, coming back to the Amplet corridor area, you see some of that changed over from service commercial to medium density residential, and then a higher mixed use designation for the Shoreview Shopping Center area. Are there any questions or comments about this area?
None as of yet.
Diane mentioned again, no high building, no building near water.
Was that a comment or a question? I'm sorry.
More of a comment.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
And Vivian, did you say that's for a specific place, that comment, or is that general?
Diane just wrote that. I could mute Diane if Diane would like to talk. It was really unclear because she just commented on that. I might need to ask her more information.
Okay, if there are no further one, I would love to move us to study area 4 of the downtown. We have one more.
Several comments coming in quick.
Okay.
So study area 7 vote is for C. 7, maybe leave the area alone as much as possible rather than putting in mixed and residential high. So I guess A, fine to move on.
Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to study area 4 with the downtown area.
There was another A as you're switching to that last
Okay,
set.
we will capture that comment. So study area 4, I did not include a map to reflect the mix of land uses that are there. However, it's very similar to alternative A. What we'll see is the downtown historic district, which is down here in this outline here. The hospital medical center building is here. Central Park is located here. And then the train tracks are here. This little icon is the downtown Caltrain station. The key differences between these three is that you'll see that the hospital is changing to a mixed use high versus currently that's a mixed use medium. And then along the 4th Avenue area, that is changing to mixed use high. In alternative C, you see more along the 4th Avenue and 5th Avenue side. All of this area changing to mixed use high. And then this portion, which is on the east side of the railroad tracks, changing to mixed use high.
So I do have a question. How does hospital change? Does it go away?
The land use designation doesn't force the hospital to go away. What it does is provides the hospital with an option to be able to do a higher, a taller hospital building to be able to service the community better. So the designation is still the same in terms of the fact that it is mixed use. And mixed use just allows the property owner to do a variety of uses. And so it could be retail, it could be office, medical office. It could also be housing. And so it provides all of the hospital, all three options provide the hospital the exact same mixed use designation. The key difference is that with the higher, the mixed use high, the hospital can, for example, if they need to redo their building to be able to provide better service to the community, they can add to their building and have a larger facility. So that's what the high designation, the key difference with the high and the medium is.
Have a comment, study area 4, my vote is C. Downtown has great transit options with Caltrain and the bus and very walkable conveniences.
Thank you for that comment.
I have Diane, she have a comment and a question. Comments was again, keep large building out, no traffic for trucks, safety for school near hospital. And she also questioned, will Draper property go away?
No businesses are proposed to go away with the general plan process. So we're planning for 20 years from now. Individual property owners, that decision in terms of moving a business in or moving a business out, that's an individual property owner, business owner decision. That's not part of what we're doing right now with the general plan process.
Couple of questions on this side. Won't all the high buildings block the view of the bay? And there's another comment. I'd like to add I'm very open to dense, tall buildings here. Two different people.
So downtown San Mateo is actually pretty flat. And so in terms of, the location, there may be views from individual, floors on buildings. However, the biggest difference that we've heard from our community since 2018 when we started our general plan outreach process is that a lot of community members really value our historic district that's in downtown. And so that's the key thing that if you see threaded across all three alternatives, that's the key area where people want to see maintaining the existing historic district and the buildings that are there. The city does have to plan for growth, both in terms of residential and providing jobs opportunities that can help support the retail businesses that are in downtown. So in order for that to happen, we need to be able to look at locations where there could be additional density in terms of residential units and additional square footage to be able to bring employees, workers near to downtown so that they can patronize the businesses that are in downtown. So that's the key things that we were hearing from business owners as well as community members who really want to see retail businesses and restaurant businesses in downtown stay in business and have a thriving retail core. In order to happen, we looked at, based on all the comments that we were getting, we looked at areas in the downtown area where additional density could be potentially added and additional square footage could make sense. And all of that is really, based on what we were hearing in terms of the value of retaining that thriving downtown retail core.
Just a heads up, 5 more minutes.
Okay, are there any other comments, questions?
Question from Erica. Is the team open to tier stepping down to residential neighborhoods?
That's definitely a comment that would Nicholas can record. It looks like Diana. Anybody else who would like to offer a comment or a question?
Gil says, I like the residential medium in A and B east of El Dorado, where C only has low.
Okay, thank you for the comment.
Something like B and C, not as many high buildings, but in between.
Thank you for that comment as well.
Have another comment. I like mixed use on Claremont on C.
Okay, along this area. Okay, thank you.
An agreement on hybrid of B and C. Smiley face.
Thank you for that comment.
Yes, Claremont is so underused. There's concurrence with Claremont.
So the second question that we were asking in terms of, it sounds like, from the input that we're getting is that this is a good range of alternatives to study. And so the second question we were asking is, are there anything that we're missing, that we need to kind of consider as we're studying? Do we have any comments or questions on that second question?
Not particularly here. We do have from Peter agreement of preserving the historical integrity of downtown. So, and there is a comment, I'm afraid of high rises unless they are capped at some agreed height.
Thank you for both comments.
We're getting multiple comments coming in. Preserving residential structures and houses. And Kalisha says, I like high residential along Railroad in C and keeping mixed use along El Camino in A and B.
Thank you for that comment as well. Any other ones?
More interest in retaining historical homes, and there is some concern with high rises in this area for lack of sunlight and shadowing.
I heard someone in this room asked for help. I've been deployed. We need help.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. I didn't see any help.
I thought, is this room C?
It is room C.
Okay, hey.
Hi.
Are we supposed to move to the next group?
I think so, yeah. I think we're all moving on to the next one.
All right, well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Brian, just real quick, FYI, yep. I'm gonna switch to Google Docs. It's easier to type.
Okay, sure.
Thanks.
All right, so just to set the context, I won't go through the whole introduction because you already heard it probably in the first or the second or both rounds of facilitation. But what we're asking today is this the right range of alternative scenarios? And are there ideas or changes missing that you would like to see evaluated? And so the areas that we're talking about as facilitators are sections of study area 1, which includes this central area from the southern end of Central Park down to roughly 92. Study area 3, which includes a bulk of that El Camino Real corridor from 92 all the way down to the southern end of Hillsdale, and also includes Bay Meadows. It includes the event center and the areas around the 2 Caltrain stations. Study area 8, which is at the 92 and 101 interchange, and includes the adjacent properties there. And then there's a little sliver at the southern end of El Camino before you get to the study area 2, which includes maybe 4 or 5 blocks. That's also something that we're gonna cover in this session.
Okay, the past couple of sessions or in this breakout, past couple of breakout rooms have wanted to start with study areas 3 and 8. So if you guys have a preference between any of them, let us know. Otherwise, I think we'll start at 3 and 8 again. So if you want to just put that in the chat in the next 30 seconds.
We got a thumbs up.
Yep. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move down to study area 3.
Okay, so as I mentioned, study area 3 is the largest study area that we have as part of this general plan update. And so what I'm going to do is run through some of the major distinctions from alternative A, B, and C, but to just sort of set the context and orient you around this study area. Again, it runs from about 16th Avenue at the north end all the way down to the southern end of Hillsdale Shopping Center, and includes the event center and Bay Meadows. And it also includes some of those new projects like Station Park Green and the Concourse project that was just approved. So as we move through these, you may notice that a lot of the parcels that are to the east of the Caltrain rail line are mostly the same across all 3 of them. And that's a lot of that is because we're incorporating either current development or recently built development. So for example, Bay Meadows largely stays the same in all 3. The event center parcel stays the same. And then a lot of those approved projects up around Concourse will stay the same as well. So much of the change is concentrated along El Camino Real from the northern end to the southern end. And so just to highlight some of the key components of alternative A for this study area, Burrell Square Shopping Center is mixed use medium designation here. So again, that's like a 4 to 7 story mixed use land use. 25th Avenue, which includes those shops along 25th to the west of El Camino, is mixed use low. And then Hillsdale is a combination of commercial, regional, and mixed use medium. Alternative B, Burrell Square Shopping Center, and this one is a residential medium designation. 25th Avenue is mixed use medium, so it's slightly denser than in the previous alternative. And then Hillsdale, again, is a combination of a commercial regional designation and mixed use. And then with C, Burrell Square is a mixed use high here. 25th Avenue, again, as in the previous alternative, is mixed use medium. And then Hillsdale Mall is a combination of mixed use medium and mixed use high. So again, a high designation indicates 8+ stories. It could include a combination of residential, retail, office. Medium is a 4 to 7 story development. So I'm sure that we're going to have some comments about this study area. This is the biggest, and we certainly had a bunch in the previous session. So feel free to comment via chat, or also raise your hand if you'd like to make a comment verbally as well.
Our first comment from Ginny is that 25th Avenue is historical. Don't mess with it.
Okay. We will note that comment. Thank you for sharing.
We have Diane comments, high density with affordable housing on west side of El Camino from 25th to Hillsdale.
Okay, thank you for that.
Can you repeat that, the description from 25th?
Diane mentioned high density with affordable housing on west side of El Camino from 25th to Hillsdale.
Thank you.
we have some more coming in. Jonathan says study area 3 in alternative C. I like the mixed use medium for 25th Avenue and mixed use high for Hillsdale. Then we have Janelle. I agree with the previous comment about 25th Avenue. Don't touch it. We need to leave some old style character in San Mateo. Question from Gil. Is there a way to be more specific about mixed use zones? Houses and offices is not the same as houses and shops and services. If there's a question to answer there,
yeah,
is there a way to be more specific about mixed use?
It might include something like an apartment building that has ground floor retail. It could include a mix of apartments and office space. So it could really vary. The main distinction that we're drawing between the different mixed use types is how dense they are and how many stories high they are. And so the uses themselves can vary, but what we're trying to draw here is that a low would be 1 to 3 stories, a medium would be 4 to 7, and then 8+ would be your high density mixed use.
And specific policies will be developed after this general plan is adopted. So we just have to pick out what we actually want, and then we can get into specifics.
Visually, there's a request if it's possible to show all 3 of them side by side, please.
We can do that, or you can do that on the website by going to strivesanmateo.org and clicking on the link to the survey. In each of the study areas, it'll show all 3 of them side by side. But since this is so big, we couldn't get all 3 on the screen at one time. But I'll just scroll through them briefly.
While you're doing that, a couple more comments concurring about making 25th more dense doesn't make sense as the parking's already terrible. Borrell from Jenny Burrell could be modified some, but going too high would be suboptimal. From Leslie, we have a comment. Redwood City has built housing to 8 stories along its downtown streets. It has created dark streets, not pleasant. Don't want San Mateo to look like that. There's a comment from Jonathan that he does not agree that we need to leave 25th Avenue alone.
So lots of comments on 25th Avenue. Thanks everybody for sharing those.
Question, what is the difference between commercial service and commercial regional?
So you want to take up?
You can go ahead.
So commercial service will generally include things like auto repair, auto service. It could include like a self-storage facility, more sort of industrial uses. Whereas a regional commercial designation is going to be an area that's essentially like a shopping destination. So it could include a mall, it could include a shopping center that has chain retail, essentially things that will draw individuals who live outside of the immediate surrounding neighborhood to that particular area.
There's a couple more comments here. I don't know if I'm jumping in over you, what you may have, Vivian. There's some, do you have a couple more?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, there's some comments about knowing, oh, geez, they all dumping in at the same time. Somebody said if Mr. Bohannon, David would like to say something. We are hearing from some of the same folks, so I encourage others to jump in here. There's a question or a comment, not 8 stories for Burrell Shopping Center. We've got some comments about traffic, and we have a circulation group coming through next, so we might want to hold on to that.
Heather, if there's a particular comment about
I'm looking.
Okay.
Oh, no, it was just traffic.
Okay.
Traffic and parking problems. Yes to high mixed use at Burrell and Hillsdale in C, and high residential along El Camino in B. Erica says pocket neighborhoods like 25th and others are important to bring people together. See, did I miss anything? Comments about shadow.
Heather, could you go back to the one on Burrell Square?
There was a comment about.
Oh, right after Burrell, right after 8 stories for Burrell Shopping Center, there was.
It said not 8 stories for Burrell.
Right, got that. Then what was the next right after that?
Oh, here it is. Yes to high mixed use at Burrell and Hillsdale.
Is that already there? So we're not asking people to vote. We're asking people for changes. I'm not looking at the map. So
alternative C would be the one that includes high mixed use.
Correct.
Yep.
So that is included.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And wherever the residential along El Camino and Bill B, people are tending to say, I like this piece and
yeah,
and that piece.
Yeah, that's fine. What we're really looking for though is revisions or changes.
Or things we might have excluded that be included.
Because we're assuming not everybody likes all the options, but we want to make sure that everybody's ideas are included in at least one option. Okay, thank you.
Not seeing a lot of pocket parks west of El Camino.
Okay.
Giving you guys a heads up. We're halfway through the time.
And I think we should move on to study area 8.
So folks can continue to add chat comments about 3, but we're going to start talking about 8 just to make sure that we can get through each of the study areas.
Okay.
And just reminding that these chats that are coming in are going to be saved. So if we don't get to read it out. Exactly.
So study area 8, as I mentioned, is the 101 and 92 interchange area. So it includes Parkside Plaza, the Marriott to the west of 101, and that office park that's just north of that. Also includes the area around the Rakuten office building. And then it includes some of those office spaces to the south of 92 as well, just north of the Waters Park project, but that office space in there, and then some of that frontage along just to the west of the creek. So this one we do have a side-by-side is a little bit of a smaller study area. So the primary, I'll sort of point out the primary differences between each of the 3. So in A and C, I'll start at the north end. That what is currently office space there is a low density residential in A and C, and a medium density residential in study area B. The Marriott and that high office space stay the same in all 3 scenarios. But those 2 parcels on the left side of the high office space vary from mixed use low in study area or in alternative A, and then they're mixed use medium in B and C. And then Parkside Plaza changes in all 3. So in 1, in study or alternative A, Parkside Plaza is designated as mixed use low. In B, it's a residential medium. And then in C, it's mixed use medium. So again, low tends to be 1 to 3 stories, medium is 4 to 7. And then the other major difference would be in that large parcel that's just south of 92. So in study area A, it's a office medium designation, so 4 to 7 stories. In alternative B, it's a residential low, so 1 to 3 stories for that parcel. And then it's a residential medium designation, 4 to 7 stories in alternative C. So those are the primary differences from A to C here. There are a couple of other ones as well. And you'll also notice that, at least for this study area, alternatives B and C have very similar increases in population and homes. It's more a matter of where that the residential space is concentrated. So you'll see Parkside Plaza has residential medium and alternative B, but it's a mixed use designation in C. And then that larger parcel that's south of 92 is a residential low in B and then a residential medium in C. So it's sort of shifting around where the residential is located in the study area, but B and C, at least in study area 8, have very similar outcomes in terms of additional housing units and population. How are we doing on comments on this one, Heather?
A couple are popping in. Mr. Bohannon replied, we see opportunities for high mixed use at Hillsdale. So just coming back to that for a moment. Karen says, please keep smart and final. Alternate groceries stores are far enough away. So there's an interest about retaining grocery type services there. Gil says, study area 3, pretty hard to compare them when they weren't on the screen at the same time. In general, medium height mixed use that excludes large offices is preferable to high rises of any sort. Preferred commercial. So these are, it's not necessarily recommending anything there, but preferring commercial mixed or LOX mixed to regional service. Forgive me for not getting all that way through. Amy is speaking up with the comment. Dining waterfront is a priority. Homes should not be considered near the water at the 92-101 interchange is massively clogged already. Low.
Heather, let me just clarify a point with these maps. Since these maps have been created, there is a pending project that had been submitted to the city in the last maybe 6 weeks. So this parcel right here is proposed to be residential low. A decision has not been made yet, but that is a pending project that was submitted after these maps were completed. So.
Okay. Just to complete that comment, the services there are widely used and necessary. Fish market is a landmark. If it goes away, other restaurants should be considered. That's the same parcel you just pointed out, Summer. We don't have any place to dine, relax near waterways anymore. Agree that wholesale, office, retail, warehouse makes no sense there. There's a question about YMCA going away in B and C. I think, again, that goes to the point where we don't make anything go away. The property owner does.
Also, this is not saying that anything's going away just because its designation is different from what's currently there. This is just a guideline. So if it were to go away, if they were to sell the building, if the building was to be demolished, what guidelines would the new development have to follow?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Vivian.
Just jump in. I have Diane comments, this area need a better park for children. It will be too dangerous to travel. Fiesta Gardens soccer field, low density for Concourse with townhouse owner with park area.
I think we'll have more.
Sorry, go ahead, Heather.
We'll have more comments for circulation, but I'll just read this about the area. A nightmare of traffic already. Would like to see definite plans to address traffic created by any of the alternatives. And Gil meant low, not locks, and now we're both craving locks. 4 to 7 stories for Fiesta shopping center is too high. Putting more resident, I am not identifying everybody, I'll just be reading these out, but putting more residential impact to interchange is a scary traffic. Another vote for fish market to stay away. What is current designation for large purple area? That's a question. What is that?
That's currently an office. Let me just confirm what the current density level is for that one. Yeah, it's currently designated as executive office. Oh, I could have just looked at the screen. Thanks, Summer.
No problem.
Which is somebody identifies that as the Crossroads. That's where the Crossroads building are. I don't have, I know Erica made a comment, we're at 92 and 101. Erica made a comment about a pedestrian when you say things you would like in that area. I had it a second ago, but basically a pedestrian walkway aligned with 92 to connect. I would love to see a pedestrian bridge next to 92 on the north side to link Caltrain to east of 101. So I know that's another repeat in circulation, but that is
Okay.
where this is.
Yeah, it's specific enough where we can capture that comment.
Got it. Let me see, 4 new messages just came in. Oh, concurrence of pedestrian bridges. Will more buildings be built in the Crossroads area? That's a question.
Yep, and that's, I don't think something we can answer today.
No.
Okay, just
that's about
timing
it for now.
wise, we have only a couple minutes left. Summer, did you want to jump into doing like the northern part of study area 1, or if we still have questions for 3 or 8, we're happy to continue taking comments for those.
Somebody did ask not to leave off 1 earlier.
Okay, yeah, I'll go back to that. These are relatively small. So, okay, so study area 1 is going to be, or this study area 1 is going to be El Camino Real Center, roughly from the end of Central Park and 9th Avenue all the way down to 16th Avenue. So currently we have some regional commercial, we have some office uses, and we also have some single family land use designations along there. It's going crazy right now, man. Okay, so there's not much change in the study area. In A, we have mixed use low in the northern section. We have mixed use medium in the southern section. We have mixed, for alternative B, we have mixed use medium in the northern section, and mostly mixed use, and mostly residential high in the southern section. And then for alternative C, it's mostly mixed use medium. And you go to this bottom parcel right here. This is, office high in A and C, and mixed use high in alternative B. And just a reminder, low is for mixed use low, it's 1 to 3 stories. Medium is 4 to 7, and any high designation is going to be 8+ stories. And just, we got this question. This is the most this has jumped around. Move that over there. Okay, so, and then for the numbers for the homes, population, and jobs, this is for all of alternative A, for the entire city, not just for this one section of El Camino.
I think we just got told that we need to move on, but if folks have comments, I encourage you to share them in the chat here, and we're going to make sure that all the chat is recorded and incorporated into the feedback from today's session.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, everyone.
And I'll just, while we're re-switching groups, oh, here comes our circulation group coming in, and hear all your comments. Just a reminder that all of you on here, feel free, as Brian just said as he left, well, if we're not able to respond, your notes are in the saved chat. So, and don't be shy. You can write something out, or if you really want to speak up, we're watching for your hand. Hello, Brian.
Hello. Yeah, I hear your last facilitator was Brian. I'm Brian Manford with Nelson Nygaard. I'm a transportation planner. We're the consultant that's working with Placework specifically on circulation and mobility. And I'll be facilitating your fourth and last breakout group, focus group. And Tracy and Sue Ellen are here from the city. If you want to introduce yourselves, we can also answer some questions.
Hi, this is Tracy Scrimalia. I'm a senior engineer in the Public Works Department.
Hi, Sue Ellen Atkinson. I'm a principal transportation planner with Public Works.
Thanks. So let me share my screen and I'll provide an overview of the three circulation alternatives we're looking at. I know it's hard to read. There's a lot of stuff we're trying to show here. I'll zoom down a little bit, zoom out to let you see the legend, but oops, too far. At a high level, we're looking at three alternatives as in the past sessions you've had. It's not about choosing between them right now or finalizing them. We're going to be studying a range, and so we want to make sure that that range is including everything that we want to study. So we're really trying to make sure that we're having a broad range that reflects what the community wants to see. That these alternatives were created based on what we've heard in the past few years of the general plan outreach. And so we're trying to reflect that as well as we can in the three distinct alternatives. And we're also including adopted plans from the city. So that includes the pedestrian master plan, the bike master plan was recently adopted, and several other types of plans. Oops, I'm going the wrong direction. So I'll orient you to this map and kind of talk through all the different lines you're seeing. So the first alternative is prioritizing a walkable city and trying to think of enhancements to make it easier to walk, especially connecting to and from the study areas. If it's a solid line and thin, like these orange lines and purple lines, the orange is existing trail. So that's a bike walk, multimodal trail. And the purple line is a bikeway. That can mean kind of any type of bikeway. So the dotted lines are mostly from the adopted bike master plan. So some trail improvements to connect more of San Mateo to the trail, some bike improvements throughout the city, and a new crossing of US 101, specifically for trying to connect some of these highway adjacent study areas and also provide improvements citywide to connect across. You'll also notice in every single alternative that there's these gray dots. Those are the existing at-grade crossings of Caltrain. I'm sure you're all aware as San Mateo folks, but the at-grade crossing is where the railroad is at the same level as the street. And so if you're in a car, you have to, or walking, you have to wait for the train to pass. So those are being considered for all the alternatives kind of separate from that. And has been a long-term project for the city since Caltrain existed. It's pretty faint, but there's this blue, thick light blue line on B Street downtown. And so the idea there is a pedestrianized 2 blocks of downtown. These light blue dots in the same color are safety improvements at the highway on-ramp intersections. And then the last, there's 2 other things on here. The kind of dark blue is missing sidewalks, so completing those missing sidewalks. And lastly, this long green line is El Camino, and that's public realm pedestrian bike improvements for El Camino. So that's alternative A. And then alternative B is looking more at the regional connections. So it's called Prioritizing Regional Connections, and it's built off the premise that Caltrain is over halfway through their electrification. They're going to be improving service in 2023, 24. So there'll be more faster trains and more frequent trains. And so taking advantage of that north-south, how do we get more people, how do we allow more people to benefit from that? And so looking at this yellow line is a transit improvement or a new transit connection between study area 10 and Hillsdale Station and El Camino. And then the same, showing that also for study area 6 in San Mateo College. And then also looking at some improvements to the bus and HOV access to 101. There's an express lane project happening on 101 and kind of regional express lane network. Are there ways that we can make it so that incentivize people carpooling or taking the bus by allowing those types of vehicles to access those lanes? And then alternative C is looking at, it's a little bit all of the above, or it represents more of the elements from the other two, and kind of also adding to that mix, what kind of new technology can we, or new design ideas can we use to improve transportation? And so you'll see some of the same lines. We have the pedestrian safety improvements, and we have improvements to El Camino Real to make fourth session, you'll have to forgive me. So in the last alternative B, it's also shown here in C, is a bus rapid transit or other transit enhancement improvement to El Camino. And then that's also shown here in alternative C. So we're talking about a mix of improvements to El Camino, and then in the downtown, broadening it a little bit from just pedestrianizing 2 blocks. Are there more pedestrianizations we can do? Is it, you know, right turn only, plaza, traffic calming, but ideas to enhance the public realm, create more sidewalk, pedestrian, public space, and a little bit less, you know, fast vehicles, moving vehicles through downtown. So that's that idea shown in kind of the blue hash mark. And then also, is there alternative, is there autonomous mobility, new technology that can be used for something like a shuttle that can, you know, it operates on a fixed route, but it can deviate to pick you up? Are there other kind of micro transit, micro mobility ideas? Again, maybe it's following the same route, this east-west connection, but kind of emerging mobility ideas to be evaluated in alternative C. So I think that's the high level. So if you have specific questions about these, and I'm happy to answer, and I'd really like to hear if there's anything that we've missed or other things you'd like to see on here.
Well, first, a question to please explain the yellow highlight along El Camino.
Yeah, and sorry for missing that. So it first shows up in alternative B, and it's bus rapid transit is one way to think about it. And what that means is a variety of improvements. So that's that can be signal preemption so that the light turns green when the bus approaches. It's enhanced bus stops. It's being able to pay for the bus before you get on, more frequent buses, often like lower floor and longer buses that are more comfortable. As we look into the future, maybe it's electric buses. So it's kind of a suite of improvements to enhance the bus service on El Camino. And kind of as a group, we can call them bus rapid transit.
And that was another question, so you answered 2 questions. If we pick C, do we get everything from A and B?
Well, and I'll say, like, we're not necessarily picking tonight, but C does include elements from A and B, but it also has it doesn't have the pedestrian block, 2 blocks. It has kind of a more lighter touch but broader approach for downtown, with more of a traffic calming approach. And it has more of a kind of shuttle connection to for study area 6 and 10 or microtransit, and less of a like fixed route transit concept.
I have a question from Diane. Where is the proposed transit center for the concourse?
Proposed transit center for what? Concourse?
Yes.
I'm not familiar with the concourse. Is that something someone at the city can help me understand? Is there another way, or if you can unmute and ask?
Could you unmute Diane? Oh, she corrected her comments again. Where is the proposed transit center for Concourse near Station Green? I'm assuming she mentioned Station Park Green.
I guess I'll say there's not a transit center proposed here. These kind of new transit connections would connect to the potential BRT or just existing high frequent bus service on El Camino, as well as to Hillsdale Caltrain station as the Caltrain station with the most frequent transit. So there's not a transit center proposed in any alternatives, but if there's a transit center need, then that's something we'd like to hear.
There's, I don't know that it not directly responding to that, but we have comments about love prioritizing a walkable city in alternative A. I'd like it to be more aggressive and to see more pedestrian blocks downtown. Prioritizing buses up and down El Camino would be great. And to see a safer bicycle corridor between Burlingame and Hillsdale. And then there was a question, so those are comments. Question, does traffic calming mean roundabouts and speed bumps?
Yeah, great question. It can mean a lot of different things. And so one of the, I don't think a roundabout would fit downtown because it would need to fit within the existing, right of way mostly. And so the concept originally that we're kind of leaning on here is, or inspired by, I would say, is Barcelona super blocks. And it's really challenging to explain. I should have brought a diagram or something, but essentially when you enter an intersection, you can't go through, you have to turn right. And so you can still make that same block, but it calms the traffic. And where you used to go through, you have bollards or whatever, and you can make a plaza there. So that's like a really extreme example. But at a smaller example, you have things like bulb outs at the corner that enhance safety or make the sidewalk bigger, the crosswalk shorter, that enhance safety, even just things like wider crosswalks and narrowing the roads, changing the parking configuration depending on the specific design. So it's a lot more than just one thing, but hopefully that it's like a suite of options. And so this plan kind of points in that direction, but actually implementing it would take into consideration all the design considerations and further outreach. It wouldn't be decided by the general plan.
So there is a question about communicating. Are we communicating with Foster City about the issues along 92 and access to 92 from 101 in and out of both cities?
So things like regional highway projects and vehicle movement is really a regional transportation consideration. And so those things are, in building the highway network and changing the highway network has to be done in partnership always, because it's by definition not just a city road. And so those are things that the County Transportation Authority, the cities or jurisdictions in which it runs, and Caltrans are all involved in. And so San Mateo is certainly involved in those kinds of conversations, but something like the general plan can point to, we want to make sure that, things are safe, or the city streets are addressing cut-through traffic, but it can't, the city isn't going to rebuild the highway interchange by itself, if that makes sense.
Go ahead, Vivian.
Just want to let you know halfway through the session.
Okay. Couple other comments. There's some strong opinions about widening, needing to address traffic as it is, because people will still be using their cars. And is there any plan for widening streets such as El Camino? And together with that, with regards to sharing those feelings about the traffic and parking, is there a way they can partake more specifically with those two items? Any specific committees with regards to traffic and parking? More specific. I said that 3 times.
So I don't know if anyone from the city can speak to existing kind of committee or advisory groups on traffic.
Sure. In general, we have a Sustainability and Infrastructure Commission for the city, at which public works projects are shared and discussed, and it's a great venue for participating in discussions about public works projects, including projects focused on traffic engineering or transportation planning, and participating in the general plan process as a whole, just like you're doing right now, is also a great opportunity. You can feel free to reach out to public works staff if you have specific questions.
And I would say, as far as the traffic in general for the general plan, we are looking at traffic in terms of evaluating these alternatives. So that is kind of part of the evaluation. And then, the city streets are largely built out, and the cost to maintain the infrastructure is already really high. And so none of these alternatives are looking at a significant expansion of right-of-way in the city. We'll note down that comment or other comments like that. It doesn't mean that it won't happen, but these plans don't necessarily propose that at this time, or these alternatives don't include that. There are, again, it's not shown here, but there's intelligent transportation systems and technological ways of enhancing signalization and other kind of high, or not even always high tech, but other ways of increasing traffic flow without necessarily widening roads, again, because of the huge expense and the need to, demolish potentially, buildings that are along that right of way. So there's a lot of factors to consider in terms of adding right of way, including the expense, but from a kind of big picture general plan, how these alternatives look at right of way, that's how I would describe that.
There's a question, Janelle may have missed the information, but I don't see anything addressing the Delaware 92 traffic congestion and traffic on Delaware from 92 to the Expo Center, as well as the new businesses and residents being built beyond the Expo Center. So all the Bay Meadows development is, I believe, what that is referring to. So I don't know that there's an answer, but so 92 traffic, Delaware traffic, and around the Expo Center.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And it may be missing here, so thank you for that comment.
There was another comment about pedestrian corridors for downtown, not understanding where the proposed housing impact would feed into a functional traffic flow. Buses aren't going to cut it. Again, looking at our 92-101 interchange, that already takes 30 minutes pre-COVID just to get over the pass. It's nuts. Traffic.
Letting you know, 3 to 4 more minutes.
So here's another suggestion / question. so that general plan could call out for wider sidewalks as a policy change to encourage pedestrian use and safety?
Yeah, the enhanced sidewalks as part of the downtown for this alternative, and we've said to the other groups, the cities in the scoping, soon to beginning process for a complete streets study. And so that's going to take a multimodal approach to looking at the city's streets and kind of the general plan points the direction, and then that is more the implementation for complete streets in San Mateo. And so that would include things like the standard for the sidewalk width and the standard for the for all the modes. So that will be addressed in the fine detail in that plan.
Random question. I don't know what it says. Has the BRT been successful in San Jose? I don't know what BRT is.
BRT is bus rapid transit. It depends on who you ask. The ridership is up and the performance is higher than the previous bus line. So it depends on how you're measuring success. But I know the construction was a challenge for some of the communities, and it doesn't have its own bus lane for the entirety of it. So it's more of a bus rapid transit light. Having its own guideway or lane allows it to not be stuck in traffic. So it still runs into some delays because of that.
There is some frustration that traffic isn't being addressed in any of this. And so was hoping for answers here rather than, so participating in opportunities for future would be good too.
Yeah, I mean, that's great to hear. We know traffic is a problem. Oh, it looks like we're closing out. Yeah, we are aware of the traffic and looking at it, but again, the city is pretty built out. So, building a new highway is even beyond the scope to some degree of a general plan, I would say.
I want to thank everybody that's been in this room. I think we're going to be all heading back to the communal room in about 20 seconds.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Last couple, let me see. We'll capture anything that is coming in the last 20 seconds. All of this will go into the records. Your comments will be saved. So,
and Heather, just a reminder to save your chat log.
Yes, I will be doing that as soon as everybody is gone.
All right, Lindsay, does it look like most folks are back now from the breakout rooms?
Yes, we have all the breakout rooms have closed. Everyone's rejoined us.
Fantastic. Well, before I share my screen again for just 2 closing slides, let me thank you all very much, both facilitators, note takers, all the support staff, and especially residents and citizens of San Mateo who are here with us. Thank you so much. I heard really amazing conversations in the breakout rooms that I visited, and I was really impressed with your thoughtfulness and your attention and your ideas. So thanks so much for that. It makes a huge difference in making this a better plan and a better process. So we noticed that and we're really grateful for it. I'm going to, as I said, share my screen. Again, just to provide you with a little bit of information briefly about next steps. This is going to be the very end. So we have the online survey that I mentioned earlier. That's up at least through May 2nd. But again, if we really hear demand for more time, certainly make that happen at strivesanmateo.org if you want to share any other ideas about the alternatives. anytime you have questions or comments about the general plan process, please contact us at generalplan@cityofsanmateo.org. That email address will reach all the right people who can help answer your questions. We have a whole bunch more upcoming meetings. So this Saturday, we're doing this same meeting again, Saturday morning for folks who prefer Saturdays to weeknights. So if you want to offer additional input, you're welcome to come back. If you have folks you know who you think might want to offer their input, please let them know about the workshop on Saturday morning. Please know that if you do want to join that meeting, you're going to need a new registration link. You can't reuse the same link that you used for this meeting. So if you want to do both, we welcome you, but please do register for both meetings so that you get the Saturday link. Then next week on Thursday is the meeting all about ARENA. That's a county-wide meeting from the Let's Talk Housing folks. RENA is the Regional Housing Needs Allocation. So if you heard about that tonight and you're curious and you want to learn more or contribute more, please check out that meeting on Thursday, April 22nd. That's not a general plan meeting, but these topics are closely related, of course. Similarly, on Tuesday, May 4th, another meeting about the housing element, an introduction to the housing element. That's the third time that meeting will be held. So if you've been to one of the other two, it's going to be that same meeting again. And if you know someone who's looking for an introduction to the housing element, could be a good way to start. That's Tuesday, May 4th. On Monday, May 17th, we're going to be taking a general plan status update to the City Council. So you're welcome to join us there and provide your comments to the council. As always, that is going to be another virtual meeting. And then on Tuesday, May 18th, we have a general plan subcommittee meeting scheduled where we will go through a very similar exercise with them. And we will also share with them the feedback that we've gotten at this Thursday meeting and on Saturday morning's meeting as well. We're going to be looking out to dates with the Planning Commission and the City Council in June and July this summer. And by the time we get to the City Council meeting, our goal will be to ask the council to give us some final direction on refining and finalizing this range of alternatives so that we can launch the next important step of doing the evaluation. And then finally, last but definitely not least, we would really love to know your thoughts about this workshop. We thought really hard about how to put this together for you. I know it was a lot to cover. I really, again, applaud all of you for participating in this and being so willing to share your time with us. And if you have suggestions on what we could do better, we really want to hear that. So if you snap a picture of this QR code with your phone right now, or if you take this link, you will be able to provide us with your feedback, and that's very important to us in doing a good job with our future workshops.
And Joanna, I just want to point out, I also put that link in the chat.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, so Carrie put the link in the chat. You can easily copy and paste it or click on it from there and take a few minutes and give us your feedback. And if you take nothing else away from tonight, which I hope you do, but strivesanmateo.org is your source for the survey, for the information on the alternatives, for those dates and times of all those meetings I listed out, ways of submitting comments to us and sending us emails, and pretty much anything else you'd want to do related to the general plan. So please take full advantage of that. And with that, I think we can let you go, and thank you once again for your time tonight. Thanks so much for being part of this process.
Thanks, everyone.
Just a quick question. The save chat, is there a specific place we're supposed to forward it to?
Why don't you hang on one sec, Viv?
Okay.
Okay. Well, perhaps we end, and if we feel like we need to regroup, we can do that at our meeting tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thanks,
Good
everyone.
evening. Bye.